fact, I have returns. All right, so need a table. Let's go. Let's make some changes in Pulumi. Oh, right. So first of all, one of the things I was trying to do was I was going to go into Pulumi. I was going to do Pulumi up and update the Lambda. I don't think that would be necessary because we pushed the image, right? So there isn't a change to the Lambda because we pushed the image. So we didn't actually need to do that. But what I do want to do is I want to use Pulumi to manage creating the DynamoDB tables for the app, right? So how? Let's see. Our existing metadata DynamoDB table, where are we creating that? Is that in this main.py file? Or did I move it? Oh, good, it's here. Okay. So I'm just debating right now if I want to create a separate what are they called? Component resources to put all the tables inside of or not. I guess for now I'm not going to bother. So let's create a streams table. Let's not call it streams table. It's kind of redundant, especially since Pulumi is going to stuff some random characters on the end of the name anyway. We don't actually need to declare attributes for the table other than the ID. Because it doesn't matter. Like, obviously, like in the metadata table, we have other attributes besides key. If I wanted to add some other indexes, which we might want to do at some point, then I would need to list other attributes. But I think this is fine. Let's go ahead and create all the tables that we're going to need here. I'm going to update this comment. There we go. So we have metadata table. It's actually, can we rename this? This should be more like, call it video metadata table, at least in the name of the variable. I don't want to change the name of the table. We can change the name of the variable. Streams table, and what else? Well, we need a series table, a stream series table. And I think we're just calling the hash key or the partition key. I think hash key is the old name for it, and it became partition key, or was it the other way around? No, it's definitely partition key is the new terminology. think we're just going to call them all ID. That also lines up with what we're doing in Postgres. Debatable whether it makes sense to actually, like, the IDs on all these tables are UUIDs that are being generated by Postgres. So it's not necessarily the right way of representing the IDs here. So let's think about that. Think about this before we move on. But I just want to go ahead and create all of the tables. List them all out. So the topic stuff was kind of a tagging system that I was thinking about doing, and that didn't really ever manifest, so I'm going to just ignore it. Video clips is kind of the equivalent of this video metadata table. And then episodes is the other main record type. Yeah. So I think that's it. Video clips, streams, series, and episodes. And then we have a diesel migration table that we don't care about. And then we have 3 tables around topics that weren't actually used for anything. That was kind of a hypothetical. Wouldn't it be cool if we had some kind of tagging system? But then wasn't used. So if I need it later, I can add it back. So when it comes to the video metadata table, the key here is the S3 key, and that uniquely identifies a specific video file. So that's a very good kind of partition key for that table. For streams, like if we're looking at the data in streams, we have a title. We have a bunch of data elements. Too many data elements. We have silences. Okay, so we can ignore all the stuff out there on the right hand side. Columns. Stream date or prefix might be things worth considering. Too far. Okay, maybe I can arrow key over. Oh, I see. Stream date is actually all the way on the right-hand side. So we have a essentially a timestamp, right, of when the stream was. We have a stream ID from the stream platform, but not all of them have that, right? Because that was something I added later on. Did we see examples in our when I ran the script that there were things that did not have a stream date? Listed. Nullable. How about I write a query myself? Select star from streams where stream date is null. Okay, there aren't any. They all have stream dates. Can we take a look at order? What date does this actually represent? Is a fun question. So you can see all of these up until here, basically until the beginning of the year, were actually just representing a day. Like, what day did the stream happen on? And then at some point, I started adding times as well. And then these were all converted to UTC. And it just so happens because, like, potentially, if I lived I think on the positive side of UTC, then the date we would see here would not actually represent the date of the stream. Right, so like this value, like this would have been when I was in UTC -9, and so this would be midnight on the 31st, right? Because I would have just entered August 31st and 000, right? So, so what am I trying to do? I'm trying to think of a good way of representing, I guess, specifically for the streams, because we know that we need a way to link the video to the stream. It might make sense to use a UUID as the partition key. There is I do have some concerns about that. Specifically, how do we I don't suppose I still have those stocks. Yeah, let's go back. Working with items. So put item creates an item. If it was only that simple. Creates a new item. If an item with the same key already exists in the table, it's replaced with the new item. So if we generate a random UUID, it's unlikely, but not impossible, that depending on circumstances, that an item with that same key could exist. Depending on kind of the scale that we're operating at. So very unlikely, but not impossible. And if there's a simple way to avoid improbable but possible failures, maybe we should think about that. So conditional writes is the thing. Each operation overwrites an existing item that has a specified primary key. So optionally supports conditional writes for these operations. Conditional write succeeds only if the item attribute meets one or more expected conditions. Otherwise, it returns an error. Conditional writes check their conditions against the most recently updated version of the item. If the item did not previously exist, or the most recent successful operation against the item was to delete, then conditional write will find no previous item. There we go. For example, you might want a put item operation to succeed only if there's not already an item with the same primary key. So when we're thinking about operations for creating a record specifically, we probably want to do this in the case of our stream record. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a plan. So, right. So I think we will continue to use ID for all of these, so that we'll have the same kind of we'll have the same partition key as the primary key from Postgres. Because otherwise, I don't think there is really a good kind of natural primary key for any of these. Potentially the best case for like episode might be the if you look at the episode table, we have an order index and we have a series ID, and so those together would be unique. I think I'm gonna say this might be a mistake, right? But I think for now I'm gonna stick with just using ID. An option if we want to do things like efficiently find records based on those other things is creating secondary indexes on the table to be able to address that. In the future, if I wanted to change how the data was laid out, that's not impossible to do. Just have to modify the table, or actually no. To change the partition key, we would probably have to create a new table, migrate the data, and all of that. But that's, it's probably fine. Let's go ahead and create these tables. All right, so this is going to update our Lambda because we recompiled things. Our one Lambda is directly using the binary rather than a Docker image. And then we're creating these tables. So let's go ahead and do that. Update number 106. Okay, good. So if I go back to the console, look at tables, and maybe do a refresh. There we go. We have some tables. I just need these names for my little script. Oops. So series is that table, streams is that table, and video clips is that. Now series, I said that I was going to manually populate because it's only like 3 or 4 records, so we'll just leave that aside. So the things that we're going to migrate are streams, episodes, and video clips. So let's do one table first and get that working, and then we can go back and do these. So we're pulling all of this data. ID, title, description, prefix, thumbnail, URL, all of the stuff that we decided that we want to copy here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's right. And that seems to match up. So, is this the thing? Let's go look at the Boto docs, because I'm not willing to take Copilot's code for granted. Let's see. Here's creating a table, using an existing table. So resource DynamoDB table is not streams. It is this. There we go. Do that. Now, is batch writer a thing? I don't know. Let's see. Updating. Batch writing. Here we go. Put table.batch writer as batch. Batch.put item. Item equals stream. So that's what we're iterating over here. Are we going to just directly replicate everything? We could do a little bit better. Where we do a little bit of data cleanup while we're here. And for the dates, we need to do potentially some transformation. I'm willing to just like run this code as is and see what it does, because there's going to be some potentially some automatic conversion to string that might be doing something reasonable. Or switch, yeah. I think that's what we were seeing for the data, right? Is that yeah, star was a mistake. ID, title, stream, platform. Lots of nulls and then Twitch. Okay. Yeah, so shall we just run this and see what happens? Let's look at the docs. Is there anything we want to do after batch writer is done? Batch writer can help to deduplicate requests by specifying overwrite by P keys if you want to bypass no duplication limitations. Oh, I see. So, if there potentially were duplicates inside of the data that we're batch writing. Now, what should happen is that there are already records in the table with this ID. This will overwrite them. Shall we test that as well while we're doing stuff? Let's go into streams. and create an item. And I'll copy the ID. So now we have this empty item, right, in the streams table. So what should happen, I think, if I understand the behavior of this correctly, is that we should copy everything from Postgres, from the table that we're reading from streams, write it to our new streams DynamoDB table, and it should overwrite this existing item, which is what I want. There, all right. So, DynamoDB does not automatically convert the date time into a string that gets sent, which is reasonable. So all of the stream things, we want to let's just go ahead. It's going to be easier if we do stream date equals dot ISO format. Might be a thing. Does datetime have that method? We want to look at a datetime object, and it has ISO format. Returns a string representing the date and time in ISO 8601 format. And when we look at the data that we were getting back before, did it have time zone? Okay, it has UTC, so it should have time zone info in the in that as well. So we use that. Let's continue to look at the data that we got back and think through how we want to transform it. So like this duration is a time delta. Okay, so a time delta is a type coming from here. So, hey, Marksy, 1 whole year.
McSrixie just subscribed for 12 months. 1 whole year.
Congrats. How's it going? Thanks for the resub. I'm trying to figure out how I want to represent duration here. I think we're going to say the duration is, well, there isn't an ISO format. It's your longest subscription ever. Yeah, I'm thinking about subscriptions that I still have active. Good things. Just going to check on dinner, though. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I guess it's about that time for you. Is there? Yeah, there's not. This is a hallucination. We want like total seconds. Alternatively, I could convert this into an ISO 8601 like duration string, but I don't know that I want to do that. What happens if let's test something as well. So Python 3 import date time equals date time dot time delta second equals 0. So we have that. So if I do something like this, okay, so that's falsy, right? Because if I do if not z, print 2, yeah, print 2. Okay, but then if I were to redefine this as being 1 second, then it's truthing. Okay, so we can test it to see if it's a 0 time with this as well. So this will handle the case that if duration was null or if duration represented 0 time, which shouldn't, that's not really a valid. It was a 0 length stream is kind of nonsensical. What else we got going on? So we need to do the same thing with created at and updated at. Converting it into something that is going to be acceptable to DynamoDB. And that should be all of the problematic things, I think. Let's try running the script. Look types are not supported. Interesting. Let's do a little thing here where we print what we're about to send before we send it. When I scroll up, see a few things. So it looks like some stuff is getting through. Oh, okay. So when we crash, the batch doesn't get pushed, I guess, is kind of where we're at with that. Okay, so on this last record, we have an ID. Oh man, this was a great title. For Sooth, further boundary formation facilitating fascinating future fields. Back in March. So that was a Greg Tech stream. Yes. Duration none. Stream date, series ID. Oh, okay. I get it. So we're not getting the error until later, potentially? Right, because I don't see like a decimal or a floating point value in this. So it must have been in one of the preceding ones. It must have been a duration. Let's go look for a duration. Okay, let's do this a different way. So if duration, definitely don't do that. That's that, and then we'll print if there is a duration. There we go. So 9337.0. Interesting. Float types are not supported to use decimal types instead. That is interesting. do we do that? So maybe that'll be fine. Oh. So, profile, there we go. I didn't select the AWS profile. So whatever my default AWS profile is, was the account I was trying to do stuff in. That would not work. All right, so that ran. And so if I refresh, you should see we have a bunch of records. We do. And none of the records should be that one that was just had an ID without any other data. We'll actually look at the interior of this in a second. So I guess I never put descriptions on any of the stream records. There we go. So here we have title, created at, so that looks like the right stream date. There we go. 14 minus 9. Wait. Minus 8. That could be true. Like the created and updated date don't really relate to when the stream was, right? The stream date converted into my local time zone should reflect when the stream started. All right, so we have all of our streams migrated. And this, so at the beginning of the stream, I mentioned kind of one of our requirements was, okay, one-way sync from Postgres to DynamoDB, sure. Run the script multiple times without duplicating data, right? So can we get a count of records? 195, right? So if I rerun the script, still 195, right? Because it's using the ID of the record. It can't create duplicate records, and it should be updating them, which we also tested by creating an empty record and seeing that that record must have gotten updated because it's no longer visible as an empty record here. The description was T. Interesting. Okay, but yeah, so that's taken care of. And run the script without deleting existing data in DynamoDB. It also doesn't do that. Maybe. Or does it? I think technically this does, right? If we're using batch writer and we're doing put item, then if the record already existed, we would overwrite it. So that is a limitation on this approach. but I think that's fine for this. I'm most concerned about the video clips, aka the video metadata. Yeah. Okay, we did add the new DynamoDB tables in Pulumi. And I hope that we can actually get to this today. We'll see how long it takes us to do the rest. The rest, of course, being, so we just did streams. We need to do episodes, and then we need to sync up the video clips, which will be a little different. So let's do this. Let's say to do episodes, and then let's do sync to DynamoDB, ensure not that we do not overwrite the existing data. So we should be able to do something like this, but it will be video metadata table. Whose name is actually this. Streams, then so very annoying that because of course, especially with Python, which is a language that's all about white space and indentation, or to have syntactical meaning, tab is also accepting autocomplete, so very annoying. We want to fetch the video clips. So if my data set was much larger, this would not be a good idea, right? Because I'm just basically pulling everything from the database, throwing it into memory. If this was a much larger data set, then I would need to do something where I take some number of records at a time, do some kind of some kind of pagination, right? But how many total records are there in the video clips table? There can't be that many, right? Can we see a count here? 1,649. So it's not a lot of data. And we also don't need all of this data. So the things that are going to be important are going to be what? Well, we care about two things. We care about the start time and the stream ID. So we care about start time, stream ID, and we need something to use to relate this record to what's already in DynamoDB. The title seems like the most likely thing, unless we have we have file name as well. In the past, my thinking was here we have a URI. And the thought was going to be that I was going to, this was before migrating everything to AWS was kind of anticipated, but that I would potentially store or archive data in S3, was that I'd have some kind of migration process where I would have the local file, and then the URI would get updated to point to a location in S3 later on. But that's not really the plan anymore. So these never got updated. I think. Can we just use the file name? Potentially, right? If we look at metadata table, so we have this key, and the key is just the date and then the file name, which has the date. It's a little redundant, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. So we should be able to generate this key. So take file name from video clips. Just do that. That gets us the data that we're after, right? Start time, stream ID, and file name. So file name will transform into the key, and then we'll create a record that has the stream ID and the start time, or update the existing record. So I think we won't be able to use batch writer in this particular use case. If we go back to the docs here, I don't believe you can use the update operation inside of a batch like that. Because ultimately what this is doing is items, batch operations. There's two underlying operations, batch get item and batch write item. So like when we are calling put item here on the batch, what's actually happening is a batch write operation gets triggered. And some other stuff that Boto is doing behind the scenes is it's then bundling up each 25 requests into batch write operation, right? So if there's more than 25 items, it's actually doing multiple for us. But here's the note: batch write item does not support update item requests, so we can't do it this way. Instead, what we need to do is so we cannot use batch writer. So put item is the wrong method, or put item. Sadly, no autocomplete. Let's go back to the Boto docs. We want to call update item. That's not the right key. That's okay. We want to provide a key, and then we want to provide an update expression and update expression values. Okay, so key is actually going to be key. What we'll need to do is we'll need to say key equals none of those things. Video date equals video clips of file name. Not exactly. So we want to split on space, actually. Then we want to say that the key is video date / video clip sub file name. Yeah. Key is key. And then file name is not something we need to set. We're going to set the things we had in the object: start time and stream ID. So stream ID, and start time. Start time is going to come back to us though as because it's an interval, it's going to come back as a time delta Python object. So we want to do the same thing we did up here, where some conversion. Go. Stream ID is just a string. So basically what this is going to do, it's going to find any existing video clips that have this key. It's going to populate stream ID and start time in that record if it exists. And if it doesn't, it will create an empty record and populate those fields. And if we look back in DynamoDB, you can see we don't have stream ID or start time. So we won't overwrite anything by doing this. Okay, so then I just have to run it, right? So let me pause here for just like a minute. Do we have backups? So point-in-time recovery is a thing we can turn on, or we can create a backup. Point-in-time recovery provides continuous backups of your DynamoDB table data for up to 35 days. Additional charges apply. Or we can create a backup. I don't think I've ever done this in DynamoDB like this. Backup window starts in 1 hour. So create backup now starts with 1 hour. Okay. So can we export to S3. We have to turn on point-in-time recovery to do that anyway. How many items do we have? We have at least 50. Actually, there we go. About 300. About 300. No, that's fine. Okay, so debating whether it was a good idea to show my downloads on stream, but it's probably fine. Let's see if Notepad can open this file. That's only 300 items. It should be fine, right? All those 300 items, it has like the keyframes lists and silence detection, all that sort of stuff. So I guess the other thing is that everything in this table right now is auto-generated from code, from like the Lambda functions and all the stuff that we've written over the past several months that looks at the stuff being uploaded. So it's not the end of the world if this stuff is lost. I would be much more concerned if the data in Postgres was lost. So I'm going to run this, and let's see if it crashes. Okay, it takes some time because it's kind of, now it's doing a little bit more work, because it's like for each of the video clips, it's going out to DynamoDB and it's doing the update operation. But somehow it's been another hour, so we're gonna pause here. Well, it's gonna keep running. But we're gonna see it in a couple minutes, and